era.
There is nothing wrong with your television set. Do not attempt to adjust the picture. We are controlling transmission.
The Grand Canyon is truly one of the most unique wonders on Earth. It is a mosaic of inspiring vistas and landscapes of unparalleled beauty. A masterpiece carved by the winds and waters of time. This is the Grand Canyon of the Colorado, one of nature's finest achievements. On this video trip, we'll explore the canyon from rim to rim and travel to the depths of the inner gorge. We'll travel to side canyons and witness the beauty of this natural wonderland that only a few people ever see. We'll talk a little bit about the history of the canyon and its first inhabitants. We'll visit the park's most prominent attractions and other popular points of interest. We'll show you firsthand what to be expecting regarding lodging and camping facilities, the curio shops and tours, the historic and scenic trails to the inner canyon, the ever-popular mule trips, and the ultimate challenge of whitewater rafting on the Colorado River. All this and many other activities and services that are available to you when you visit Grand Canyon National Park. Well, we're burning daylight, so let's get going. Grand Canyon National Park is located in the northwestern corner of Arizona. The eastern boundary of the park is almost directly north of the city of Flagstaff. Flagstaff is almost 78 miles from the park's south entrance. The south rim of the park is accessed from the east by Route 64. The east entrance is about 30 miles from the town of Cameron. If you enter the park from the east, you'll have to follow East Rim Drive about 25 miles before you reach the park headquarters and the visitor center located in Grand Canyon Village. The south entrance to the park is accessed by using Route 64 and 180 and the town of Tucson. The south rim gets the bulk of the 4 million or so tourists that visit the park each year. The north rim portion of the park is only a few miles from the south rim as the crow flies, but it's a good 5 hours drive by road. The north rim is accessed by using east and west Route 89 alternate, and then Route 67 south to the north entrance. Grand Canyon National Park encompasses approximately 1,100 square miles and includes some of the most diverse geologic and climatic settings you'll find anywhere in the world. 6 of the 7 climatic belts recognized throughout the world are represented in the Grand Canyon region. The canyon floor reveals a lower Sonoran desert environment, while the north rim gives the appearance of southern Canada. 2 different worlds, so to speak, yet only a few miles apart. The average depth of the canyon is about 1 mile. The canyon itself consists of about 2,000 square miles that are stretched out along 277 miles of the Colorado River. The river descends almost 2,200 feet in that span. The Colorado is one of the great river systems in the United States. It's over 1,400 miles long, and the area it drains totals nearly 12% of the United States. The Colorado averages 300 feet in width and is up to 100 feet deep and flows at an average rate of 4 miles per hour. The Colorado flows west through the Grand Canyon, later bends south and empties into the Gulf of California in Mexico. With an altitude ranging from 1,200 to 9,000 feet, the Grand Canyon sets the scene for a variety of plants and animals, each one seeking out a niche within the canyon's fragile ecosystem. At the lower depths of the inner gorge, you can see some of the oldest exposed rocks on this planet.
The erosion of the Grand Canyon has taken place over 10 million years, a very small amount of time relatively compared to the age of the rock layers which it has exposed. The schist rock that we're floating through now is nearly 2 billion years old, half the age of the Earth, and up on top of the canyon are sedimentary layers which are 250 million years old. That's 250 million years old. So the canyon itself is a very young feature, which gives us such irregular patterns of erosion, and the desert climate does not grow lots of vegetation, so the geology is revealed.
This vast wilderness of stone was once a gentle sloping plain with a meandering river channeling its way westward. As pressures within the earth slowly uplifted the surface, they caused the river to run faster and deeper. As a result, the channel continued to deepen, and the land on both sides began to erode. Adding to this process was water from heavy rains and melting snows. But the work is not finished. The powerful forces of the river, rain, snow, heat, frost, and wind, are still carving fantastic shapes of precipitous bluffs and towering buttes. Scientists estimate that it has taken 3 to 6 million years to carve the greatest canyon of them all, the Grand Canyon of the Colorado. Now, let's talk briefly about man's influence on the Grand Canyon. The Grand Canyon has been home to people for over 4,000 years. Around 2,500 BC, the earliest inhabitants of the area left small split-twig figurines in caves of the Red Wall limestone. These figurines are thought to be a form of hunting magic. Little else remains to tell us about their lives. The best evidence of prehistoric man living here dates back to over 1,000 years ago. People known as the Anasazi built dwellings of stone and mud. They made pottery, stone tools, and farmed its fertile soils. Nearly 2,500 archaeological sites have been found at the Grand Canyon, representing occupation throughout the past 4,000 years. Visitors are reminded that federal law forbids the removal of artifacts or the defacement of these archaeological sites. All artifacts must be left in their original locations. Visitors should walk around and not through walls or mounds or lean on them. Anasazi ruins lay scattered throughout the canyon and can be seen by those who float the river, by hiking the canyon trails, or by walking along the canyon rim. Today, 5 Indian tribes live in the region: the Hopi, Navajo, Havasupai, Paiute, and the Halapai. The first non-Native American to discover the Grand Canyon of Arizona was Don Lopez de Cardenas in the year 1540. The young captain led a squad of Coronado's Spanish expeditions into the region now known as the Grand Canyon. The captain was quick to report his dismay of the impassable barrier before him and his men. But the canyon's beginning fame is without a doubt the result of explorations by Major John Wesley Powell. In 1869, Major Powell set out with a small expedition party of 4 boats to run the length of the Green River in Wyoming and the Colorado to the bottom of the Grand Canyon. During the daring ride, Powell would lose 2 of his boats, but he proved the canyon could be explored by those who felt up to the rigors of this extreme and dangerous environment. The one-armed Major Powell had himself strapped to a chair so he could stay in the boat as they ran the rapids. It would be difficult to realize Powell's undaunted courage until you experience running the mighty Colorado, one of today's modern rafts. News of Powell's exploits was widely publicized and led to greater public awareness of the Southwest. Before Powell, this region was largely overlooked by mapmakers. As the news spread, the potential for the tourism in the canyon area was soon realized. Around 1880, John Hans, an ex-miner, made some improvements on the existing Indian trails, hoping to impress the tourists. Within a few years, there were hotels and camps scattered from the rim to the canyon floor. The Santa Fe Railroad built a spur from Williams to the South Rim in 1901, and the El Tovar Hotel about 3 years later. During the early years, many tried to capitalize on the canyon's scenic wonders, but failed. Only the Santa Fe and the Fred Harvey Company were able to succeed in the tourist business. Efforts to preserve the Grand Canyon into a national park began shortly after Yellowstone became a park, but it took nearly 30 years to accomplish. It was only through the relentless efforts of two presidents, Benjamin Harrison and Theodore Roosevelt, that the Grand Canyon was finally established as a national park in 1919. There are three major areas of importance for the traveler to consider when planning or visiting Grand Canyon National Park: the South Rim, the North Rim, and the Inner Canyon. The geographic makeup of Grand Canyon National Park will require little time and travel if you expect to visit both rims. If you are traveling from the north, we suggest you visit the North Rim first. That is, unless you plan to travel back through that area. The distance by road between the North and the South Rim is 215 miles. If you are traveling to the park from the south or east, we suggest that your first stop be the Visitor Center and Park Headquarters located in Grand Canyon Village on the South Rim. At the Visitor Center, you can get current information on the park and all the activities that may be occurring during your visit. First, we recommend you pick up a copy of the Grand Canyon National Park Guide. It's free for the asking, and it's filled with valuable information. There are separate guides printed for the North Rim. They are limited and only available on request. When planning your trip to the Grand Canyon, ask for the specific guides to the North and the South Rim if you plan to visit both areas. The guides list all the facilities, services, and activities that are available throughout the park. There are also maps, pamphlets, books, and schedules available at the South Rim Visitor Center, as well as a fine selection of books for sale. Park rangers will be happy to answer any questions you may have to make your visit to Grand Canyon National Park safe and memorable. The museum is also located in the Visitor Center. While you are there, you can see firsthand the old wooden boats that were once used to navigate the mighty Colorado River. And be sure to take a few minutes and watch the slide program in the auditorium for an informative introduction to the Grand Canyon before you leave the center. There are two ways to tour the South Rim: by foot trail and by shuttle bus. And the best place to begin is at the Visitor Center, since it is centrally located. The walking tour is easy and there's plenty of things to see and do. The foot trail is paved west to Maricopa Point and east to Grandeur Point and the Yavapai Museum. You can begin your walking tour immediately behind the Visitor Center, where the Mather Amphitheater is located. The theater is the site for many ranger talks, lectures, and photography programs that occurred during the tourist season.
That's a cedar waxwing. This is a dragonfly.
For those interested in the daily auditorium schedules, slide programs, and canyon orientations, you should refer to your free Canyon Guide tabloid or inquire at the Visitor Center. Here's a list of the programs that are available. Spectacle of Stone and Light, the Grand Canyon of the Colorado, Kolb and the Grand Canyon, Grand Canyon, a Picture Panorama, and Pressures in Paradise. These slide and film presentations range from 15 to 25 minutes in length. We suggest you plan to see as many of them as possible to get the full impact of the Grand Canyon and its historical past. As we continue walking west, we approach the edge of the South Rim and a magnificent view of the canyon unfolds. This vantage point is known as the Lodge Area. Here you will get spectacular views of the canyon, as well as historic lodges and curio shops. The historic El Tovar Lodge, built in 1904, is one of the first on the canyon rim, as is the Thunderbird, Kachina, and Bright Angel lodges. The lodge area is the park's center for curio shops and studios. The Hopi House and Verkamp's Curios are favorite tourist stops, as is the Kolb Studio. The lodges also have gifts and curios available in the lobbies. If you're looking for a token of the Grand Canyon or the Great Southwest to take home, you'll find it here in the Lodge area. At the west end of the Lodge area is the Bright Angel Trailhead. The Bright Angel Trail is just one of the many trails that switch back their way to the depths of the Inner Canyon. We'll cover the popular hiking trails in more depth a little later in the video. The paved foot trail continues along the rim from Bright Angel Trailhead to Maricopa Point. The walk is about 1.5 miles one way, so take along a canteen of water because there's no water available on the west rim until you arrive at Hermit's Rest, and that's at the end of the loop. And oh yes, keep in mind, walking and hiking along the canyon rim can be an enjoyable experience, but you must avoid getting too close to the edge. Footing here can be unstable and extremely dangerous. As you travel along the rim trail, you'll get plenty of photographic opportunities as you encounter overlooks and historic sites, so take plenty of film. For those of you who prefer to ride instead of walk, the West Rim Interchange is just a short distance from the Bright Angel Trailhead. The West Rim Interchange is the beginning of West Rim Drive. Here, tourists wishing to see the sights on the West Rim can do so by walking or taking the West Rim Shuttle. Private vehicles are not permitted on the West Rim during the summer months. The handicapped can get a special permit at the Visitor Center. The shuttles run every 15 minutes between 7:30 a.m. and sunset, and they are free. The round-trip ride is 16 miles. It's a scenic ride that offers plenty of opportunities to see the canyon from many vantage points. You may get off at any designated point and walk between points and board a later bus to continue the loop. The footpath parallels West Rim Drive. Some West Rim shuttle buses are equipped with wheelchair lifts and ramps. Those in need should check at the Visitor Center or the West Rim Information Booth for schedules. Views of the canyon from on the West Rim vary with each point. Trail View Overlook offers an excellent view of Bright Angel Trail as it winds its way to and from the Inner Canyon. Maricopa Point, named for the Maricopa Indians, offers a fine view of the gorge and its Precambrian age rocks, the oldest exposed rocks in the Grand Canyon. Another favorite stop is Powell Memorial. The memorial was dedicated on May 20th, 1918, to honor Major John Wesley Powell and his 5-man crew for their explorations into the Grand Canyon by boat in 1869. At Hopi Overlook, you can step into the past as you view the inactive Orphan Mine. Hopi Overlook provides east and west views of the canyon and is a popular sunset viewing point. From Mohave Point, you can see a portion of the Colorado River and the famous Hermit's Rapids. Just 5 miles beyond Mohave is Pima Point, considered by many to have the finest view of the canyon. The Colorado River is also visible from Pima Point. At the end of the rim is Hermit's Rest. Hermit's Rest is a log and stone structure. It was built in 1914 and was named for Louis Boucher, who came to the canyon in 1891. Boucher operated a copper mine and a small tourist camp near here. The South Rim Visitor Center is almost centered between east and west points of interest. For this reason, the center makes an ideal place to begin your tour of the canyon's South Rim. Now, let's take a quick tour of the East Rim. East Rim Drive offers views of the canyon and the Colorado River, as well as numerous others. The Painted Desert, San Francisco Peaks, Indian Ruins, and the Desert Watchtower among them. As you travel east, you'll pass Yaqui Point. Yaqui Point is popular because of the view you can get of Wotan's Throne to the northeast. Wotan's Throne is a large, flat-topped butte, named by the scientist who made the first topographic map of the Grand Canyon. Yaqui Point is also the trailhead for the Kaibab Trail. It is here the Kaibab begins its descent to the Phantom Ranch, located at the bottom of the canyon. Grandview Point is higher in elevation than most points along the South Rim. Receiving more moisture, it supports large stands of ponderosa pine. gamble oak, pinyon pine, and juniper. The trail from Grandview Point leads to Horseshoe Mesa, where Pete Berry laid claim to the Last Chance copper mine in 1890. Moran Point was named for the famous 19th century landscape artist Thomas Moran, whose impressive works helped convince Congress to establish Grand Canyon as a national park. Just east of Moran Point is the Tusayan Museum and Ruin. The Tusayan Museum features exhibits about the prehistoric and historic Indian cultures which inhabited the Grand Canyon. A self-guided trail leads you through the 800-year-old Anasazi ruin that adjoins the museum. The museum is open from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. daily. A short distance from the Tusayan ruins is Lippin Point and the Tanner Trailhead. The 9-mile hike on the trail leads to the Unker Delta. Along the trail are ruins of the prehistoric Anasazi dwellings that date back nearly 1,000 years. As you approach the end of East Rim Drive, you'll arrive at Navajo Point and Desert View. From Navajo Point, you can get an excellent view of Escalante Butte and the Colorado River. Desert View encompasses a broad range of scenic vistas, some of which include the Painted Desert, the home of the Navajo Indians, Marble Canyon, Cedar Mountain, and the Vermilion Cliffs. Desert View is also the location of the Watchtower. The Watchtower was erected in 1932. The tower stands 70 feet high and 30 feet wide. It has a large observation room on the ground floor and was modeled after an Indian kiva. The Watchtower provides a panoramic view of the Grand Canyon and the Colorado River, and from its highest point on the south rim, reaches over 7,500 feet above sea level. Desert View Lookout also has a trading post, general store, and limited RV camping space. The overlooks on the north rim of the Grand Canyon number far less than those of the south rim, but nevertheless, they are just as beautiful. The main points of interest on this rim include Bright Angel Point, Point Imperial, and Cape Royale, each one providing scenic views of the canyon that make the trip to this remote area of the park well worth the visit. There are daily tours from Grand Canyon Lodge to Cape Royale and Imperial Point. Tickets can be purchased at the lodge desk. Unlike the South Rim, there is no shuttle bus on the North Rim. However, there is a daily bus from the town of Tusayan to the North Rim. Inquire at any lodge transportation desk for schedules. One of the most popular pastime activities in the Grand Canyon is hiking and backpacking on the rims and canyon trails. This is one way to experience the canyon's rich beauty and its immense size. The canyon offers two forms of hiking trails: the rim trails, which are far less strenuous and casual, and the inner canyon trails, which are considerably more physical. The rim trails are excellent alternatives to visitors who are not prepared for a physical challenge, or who are accompanied by small children. For those physically prepared to hike the inner canyon from the South Rim, there is the challenge of Bright Angel, South Kaibab, Rim to River, Grandview, and Hermit Trails. These trails vary in length and difficulty. Many have side trails to scenic areas and historic sites. For those visiting the North Rim, there are numerous day hike trails into the canyon. Popular North Rim trails include Bright Angel Point Trail, Transept, Uncle Jim, Widforce, Ken Patrick, Cape Royale, Cliff Springs, and last but not least, the famous North Kaibab Trail. These trails vary in length from a half mile to 9½ miles one way. The North Kaibab Trail is the only maintained trail into the canyon from the North Rim. Trails in the canyon vary in difficulty and can be extremely dangerous. Hikers should refer to trail guides for specifics before proceeding. Some trails are only for the experienced desert hiker. Now for some suggestions for hiking the canyon safely. Water is the most important item you should carry, and drink plenty of. Eat a good meal before you start your hike and carry plenty of high-energy snacks. comfortable footwear is essential. This is no time to break in boots. Take along a first aid kit. It should contain sunscreen, Band-Aids, a signal mirror, maps, and a flashlight. Here's North Rim Ranger Tom Cox.
The other thing you should be thinking about is what time of day you hike in the canyon. Since you're hiking in a desert environment, you should plan on traveling early in the morning and late in the afternoon, and drinking plenty of fluids and staying very hydrated. Even if you don't feel thirsty, you're putting out a lot of water from your system, and if you don't keep up those fluids, then you're probably going to see a ranger under less than ideal circumstances.
Hikers and backpackers should be aware of the symptoms of hypothermia, heat exhaustion, and heat stroke, and how to treat them. It could mean life or death. If you hike the canyon trails, you'll more than likely encounter mules along the way. Hikers should remain still and quiet until the mule strings have gone by. The wrangler will advise you of the proper procedures. Hiking permits are needed for overnight hiking only. Day hikes do not require a permit. Reservations or requests for overnight hikes may be sent to this address. Concession guide service and equipment rental is available on the North and South Rims. Contact the South Rim Visitors Center or the Backcountry Office for trail maps, permits, brochures, and guides to hiking safety in the park. While the crystal clear and icy cold water found in the mountain streams and many national parks may seem inviting to drink, don't do it. You'll see animals drinking the water, but humans must take several precautions. Drinking untreated natural water can result in a severe intestinal disorder called giardiasis. It can affect your dog or cat if you are traveling with house pets. Carried by both humans and animals, giardia contamination is common in surface water supplies like lakes, streams, and rivers. Here are 3 basic ways to protect yourself from giardiasis. The most effective protection is to carry your own water from a known safe drinking water supply. The next most effective method is to boil water obtained locally for at least a minute at low altitudes and 3 to 5 minutes at high altitudes. And the least effective method is to filter the water with a high-quality filter that can remove particles as small as 1 micron. Say, are you looking for a unique vacation treat? Well, if you are, consider taking a mule trip to the Inner Canyon. The views are awesome, and the experience is one you'll long remember, I can assure you. In fact, Grand Canyon mule rides are so popular that trips from the South Rim are booked almost a year in advance. Mule trips to the Inner Canyon from the North Rim are a little easier to get without advance reservations. Mule trips from the South Rim range from 1 to 3 days with overnight stays in the bottom of the canyon at the Phantom Ranch. Trail rides from the North Rim range from half a day to a full day with rim trail rides available by the hour. Here's how to make your reservations for your mule trip to the Inner Canyon. Here's the address and phone number for the South Rim. And now the address and phone number for the North Rim. And how about this? The ultimate in excitement and adventure, running the rapids of the mighty Colorado. This is your chance to see the canyon as few seldom do, from the bottom up. You are one-on-one with nature and the forces that carve their way a mile deep through granite formations that are over 2 billion years old. The river guides will take you to side canyon waterfalls and vistas not seen from the canyon rims. There are Indian ruins, artifacts, and petroglyphs at the reach of the hand. And then there is the thrill of running more than 70 sets of rapids that range up to 10 on the scale of difficulty. Not to mention the hearty aroma of meals cooked over an open fire, sleeping under the stars, and meeting people from far and distant places. You have this and more waiting for those who dare to challenge the mighty Colorado. Let's listen to Kelly Smith, a river guide for adventures west.
Now today we have it state-of-the-art. We're sitting on nylon neoprene rafts. We have very efficient propane stoves, very good menus, and 15,000 people a year come down here and share this Grand Canyon with us on commercial boating trips. We have a very excellent safety record. You're safer on this river than you are traveling down the interstates from town to town.
There are numerous river running concessionaires operating on the Colorado River through Grand Canyon National Park. They provide a variety of river trips and services, including support for private river expeditions. Most trips are from 1 day to 7 days or more in length. Trips depart from Lee's Ferry, which is above the canyon entrance. Partial river rafting trips depart from Phantom Ranch, which is only accessible by hiking down from the rim. Or you can start your trip from the Bar 10 Ranch, located near Whitmore Wash at mile 187 on the river. Guests are flown in by helicopter for 3- and 4-day float trips from Whitmore to Lake Mead. Individuals wanting to run the river without guides must obtain a permit from the National Park Service. For more information and a list of current concessionaires, contact the Grand Canyon Park Visitor Center or any lodge transportation desk. The Grand Canyon is home to more than 70 species of mammals, 250 species of birds, and 30 species of reptiles and amphibians.
Would like to caution you while you're in the park that the wildlife seems attractive, and a lot of people like to think that they should feed the wildlife. Like it if you think about the fact that when the people aren't here, the wildlife has to pretty much exist on its own. And a national park is a game preserve where we try to keep the wildlife wild rather than depending upon potato chips and that type of thing for their source of energy. Also, you might want to walk up and pet a deer. Wouldn't really want to recommend that. First, it's a wild animal. Second, it shouldn't have that kind of human contact. And third, with their horns and their hooves, they can be somewhat dangerous to you, the visitor.
Helicopter and fixed-wing air tours of the canyon fly daily from Tucson, the Grand Canyon Airport, and other locations in the Great Southwest. While you are in the park, reservations can be made at any Grand Canyon Lodge transportation desk. A list of the air tour operators is also available upon request from the Visitor Center. If you prefer to tour a little more down-to-earth, there are bus tours available in the park to Desert View, Hermit's Rest, as well as sunset tours on a daily basis. Inquire at any lodge information desk or at the Visitor Center for time schedules. Camping and our national parks seem to go hand in hand, and that's no exception in Grand Canyon National Park. On the South Rim, Mather Campground, located in Grand Canyon Village, is operated by the Park Service until December 1st. Reservations can be made up to 8 weeks in advance through any Ticketron outlet or participating National Park Service area. You can also check at the campground entrance for daily campsite availability and reservation details. There are no hookups available at Mather Campground. The campground has 318 tenting and RV sites. There are 84 full hookup trailer and RV sites available at Trailer Village, located next to Mather Campground. You can register daily between 8 a.m. and 5 p.m. or phone this number for further information. Camping is also available on a first-come, first-served basis at Desert View, located 26 miles east of Grand Canyon Village on East Rim Drive. The North Rim Campground has 82 sites with no hookups. Showers are available nearby. The North Rim Campground closes October 22nd. Stays are limited to 7 days per season. Reservations for groups may be obtained by writing to Group Campground Reservations, National Park Service, North Rim, Arizona, 86052. Now, here's a list of the out-of-park campgrounds. On the South Rim, Camper Village, located in Tucson, and 10X Forest Service Campground, located in the Kaibab National Forest. On the North Rim, Forest Service camping is available at DeMott Park Campground, located 5 miles north of the park, and at Jacob Lake Campground. Reservations can be made through Mystics. Jacob Lake Campground and RV Park is located a quarter-mile south of Jacob Lake on Highway 67. There are 80 sites with hookups and 50 tent sites available. Open camping on the Kaibab National Forest surrounding the Grand Canyon National Park is open to at-large camping. In-park service campsite reservations may be made 24 hours a day through Ticketron by calling these numbers. Ticketron accepts MasterCard and Visa. Now, for those of you who'd rather rough it easy, there are plenty of fine lodges, motels, and cabin sites available in and out of the park. Here's a list of the in-park lodges located in Grand Canyon Village. And the Smoky Lodge, located just outside the park boundary. For in-the-park lodging reservations on the South Rim, call or write this address. On the North Rim, the in-park service is provided by the historic Grand Canyon Lodge. Frontier and Western cabins are also available. For reservations, call this number. Out-of-the-park lodging is available on the South Rim in the town of Tucson. Tucson is located just outside the park's south entrance. On the North Rim, there's lodging at Jacob Lake and the Kaibab Lodge just outside the park. All lodges have food and beverages, and facilities are open to guests and park visitors. Reservations in advance are recommended for in-park and out-of-the-park lodging, especially during the summer months. You know, when it comes to in-the-park services, the Grand Canyon Village has everything a small town would have, and then some. At the Mather Center, you'll find a bank, post office, and a full-line grocery store. At Camper Services, there's ice, showers, laundry facilities, and an RV dump station. A few doors down from Camper Service is the Backcountry Reservations Office and the Grand Canyon Trail Guides headquarters. There is a telegraph at the Park Lodge's main office, which also houses the garage, with 24-hour emergency service and a mechanic on duty daily. The village has a health center that provides medical service 24 hours a day, a pharmacy, and even dental service. An emergency 911 service is available on the north and south rim of the park. From lodge or hotel rooms, dial 911. Most of the in-park services on the North Rim are centered around the Grand Canyon Lodge complex and the North Rim campground. There is a general store for provisions and supplies, laundry, showers, and a service station for fuel and propane. The post office is located in the Grand Canyon Lodge, as is the restaurant and a curio shop. Religious services are held each Sunday on the North and South Rim. For mass schedules and interdenominational services and ministries, contact the South Rim Visitor Center. And when it comes to transportation, there is just about every mode you can think of at the Grand Canyon. There are taxis, shuttles, tour buses, horses, and even mules. And you can't expect much more than that. And last but not least, you can rent a car from the Grand Canyon Airport Rental Desk. Here are the telephone numbers. Commercial bus service is available between Grand Canyon National Park and Flagstaff or Williams, Arizona. Greyhound offers service to these cities from points nationwide. For more information regarding transportation, contact any hotel or lodge transportation desk. The climate in the Grand Canyon is as varied and unpredictable as the canyon itself. Visitors should bring rain gear any time of year. In the winter, you should be prepared for cold, wet weather, even if you are hiking the canyon. The south rim elevation is 7,000 feet above sea level and is open all year. Summer temperatures range from the 80s to the low 50s. Winter temperatures from the high 30s to minus 10 degrees are common. Snow can be expected from mid-November to April. Temperatures are usually moderate in late spring and fall. The North Rim elevation exceeds 9,000 feet in some areas and is open from late May through October, weather permitting. Summer temperatures on the North Rim are about 5 degrees cooler than the South Rim. During the winter months, Highway 67 to the North Rim is closed and no services are available. The rim is open, however, to cross-country skiing and snowshoeing. For North Rim weather access, write to the Backcountry office at the following address. The Inner Canyon is open all year from South Rim access points. Summer only from the North Rim. Travel is by foot or mule. Summer temperatures in the canyon range from the low 70s to excess of 100 degrees. In the winter months, temperatures range from the mid-50s to the low 30s. Snow is rare on the bottom, but rain is common. Pets are permitted in the park, but must be physically restrained at all times. Pets are not allowed on the trails below the rim. The only exception is guide dogs for the blind or deaf. Kennels are available in the village. Bicycles are permitted in the park, but only on paved roads or secondary dirt roads. There are no bicycle rental facilities in the park. The closest rentals are in Flagstaff, 80 miles to the southeast. Fishing in Grand Canyon National Park requires an Arizona fishing license. Licenses are available at Babbitt's General Store in the village. Tucson on the south rim of the park is the hub for the out-of-the-park services in the region. And while you're in town, don't forget to stop at the IMAX Theater. Their shows of the Grand Canyon are a must-see. But there's a lot more to see and do in the Tucson area. So for more information on activities and services, contact the Grand Canyon Tour Center in Tucson. Out-of-the-park services on the North Rim are limited compared to the South Rim. Most services will be found at the campgrounds and lodges mentioned earlier. A moderate entrance fee that is good for both the North and the South Rim of the Grand Canyon National Park is charged all motor vehicles entering the park. This entrance permit is good for 7 days. Persons entering by foot, bicycle, or by bus are also charged a fee for a 7-day entrance permit. For travelers who may be visiting one or more parks or other recreational areas during the year, there are 4 special annual and lifetime passes available. The Golden Eagle Pass is an annual entrance pass to all national parks, monuments, historic sites, recreational areas, and wildlife refuges that charge fees. The Golden Age Passport is a lifetime entrance pass to all of the same facilities for people who are 62 years of age or older. The passport also provides a 50% discount on federal use fees inside the facilities. It does not cover other fees charged inside the park. The Golden Access Passport is a similar lifetime entrance pass for those who are blind or permanently disabled. This passport is also good for a 50% discount on federal use fees, but does not cover other fees charged inside the park. The annual pass and lifetime passports can be purchased by mail or in person from most National Park Service offices and U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service offices or facilities. Individual national parks, monuments, historic sites, and recreational areas sell an annual Parks Pass which permits unlimited entry to the specific facility. These passes can be purchased by mail or in person at the National Park facility in which you are interested. It's awe-inspiring vistas that constantly change with the angle of the sun. It's a wilderness of stone, sculptured by cascading waterfalls, and a raging river that beckons those who dare to tame its mighty rapids. There's only one place on Earth like it, and it's here in the desert Southwest. This is truly the greatest canyon of them all. This is the Grand Canyon of the Colorado.
If you leave the theater, folks, please be careful. Don't let this happen to your car. Be sure to remove the speaker before you leave. If you should accidentally pull a speaker loose, please turn it in at our snack bar or box office. Thanks.